Hello, welcome back to Cinema Off. Yet another pre-season preview for us, and we are trudging through them. We being myself, Sam, and my ever-present podcasting partner Alex. Another day
It's
for us. Day
yeah,
four.
it's the beginning of the end, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
We're nearly on our way to the finishing line. But yeah, we're not alone as we have not been for the last 14. This is the
I think it
15th,
is, yeah.
right?
15, I think this
Something
is.
like that. Yeah, we are not alone, Sam.
We are not. We're joined today by Jonathan from Cherries Red Army to represent Bournemouth, one of the new boys. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. How's things, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. I suppose it's for you, it's the beginning of the end, and for me, I suppose it's the end of the beginning, being with the season being less than 2 weeks away. No, about 2 weeks away at this
Yeah.
point of recording. So, yeah, it's getting more and more real. And as we'll go through, the nerves are starting to increase as days go by.
Yeah. That's
Well, let's see
interesting.
about that.
Yeah. How was last season? If you could sum it up.
I suppose I'd say mission accomplished if I could sum it up with last season, because for those that weren't following the championship, Bournemouth got promoted in second place. It got quite close to the wire in the end, with Nottingham Forest pushing up and being basically one game away from getting past us into the automatic spot, and us getting through that 1-0 to secure an automatic spot. But at the start of the season, we went 15 games unbeaten, I believe. It was a new club record, as far as I'm aware. And then we hit our typical mid-season poor patch, which Fulham did at the same time, but they were in a slightly better position and they recovered quicker. And there were musings of discontent about Scott Parker and the negativity of his approach. And very frequently we found that 1-0 was enough for him. 2-0 was way more than enough, and he would just sit back and encourage us to defend. And having been used to a very attacking style of football under Eddie Howe for so long, it rubbed a lot of supporters a bit odd that we had such a strong squad, and yet we didn't really try and dominate and punish oppositions when we had opportunities to. And in the end, it almost bit us in the back. But I think because there was a lot in the crowd there were boos at the end of games about 2/3 of the way through the season when we were hitting another blip. And I think in the end it got through to Parker that maybe he needs to be a bit more aggressive and a bit more attacking. And it worked. I think in the end we had a very tough run in, but made the most of it, and obviously was able to get over the line.
Yeah, just about. It was a bit nervy, wasn't it? Because obviously we're Swansea fans, so we keep a keen eye on the championship. And I think
we watched the championship quite keenly, and I remember watching that last day. Well, not the last day, but the game that took you up. Who was it you were playing?
Forest.
I forgot now.
it was
It was
Forest.
Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course it was. And I remember. Was Kiefer Moore the difference when he came in?
Well, he was the goal scorer on that game, and I'd certainly say he made the difference in the end for us, because obviously the Swansea match is one you won't want to look back on that particular one, and Kiefer Moore's impact. But certainly getting the goal against Nottingham Forest, and then he scored against Millwall. When we brought him in, we really thought, wow, this could be the difference maker, because we only had Solanke as the only striker in our team for basically the first half of the season. Kiefer Moore comes in, he gets 4 minutes as a sub appearance in his first game and breaks a bone in his foot, and is out for 4 months or whatever. Comes in for 10 minutes against Swansea, 15 minutes against Forest or whatever it was, and then about 30 minutes against Millwall, and he scored 4 goals in those 3 games that constituted about 60 minutes of action. So his goal rate for us is ridiculous at the moment. But yeah, I think certainly right at the end he probably did make the difference, but that's the last yard in a 100-meter sprint. There were a lot of other players that really got us much in great positions other than just Kiefer Moore.
Yeah, that leads me on quite nicely to
the next question.
Who are the key players then for Bournemouth? If people didn't watch the championship last year, who should we be looking out for? Maybe who's going in your fantasy football team?
There's probably 3 or 4 that I would encourage you to look at in your fantasy football team. The player that won basically all of our awards last season was Mark Travers, the goalkeeper. Young Irish stopper, who, despite being definitely in the top 2 best keepers in the league last season, got the most clean sheets. He's still probably third choice for Ireland at the moment. Unfortunately, that's one area they do have a lot of depth in. But yeah, incredible amount of games in which he saved us points. And you know, he won the Supporters Player of the Year, he won the Players Player of the Year, he got 3 out of, and obviously got the Golden Glove. So he got an enormous amount of awards from the fans, was just so appreciated. His nickname, as termed by our Colombian Jefferson Lerma, is El Pulpo, which translates to the squid, because of just his ability to throw his arms and get into just pull saves out of unnatural positions. He was incredible for us last season, and without him, there's no way we're going up. But obviously, the player that probably grabbed the most headlines last season for onlookers would have been Dominic Solanke, who pulled out 29 goals in the league with 7 assists, I want to say. It was roughly that. And he's massive for us. You know, he started every single game for us, all 46. He only missed about 9 minutes of action, something like that, through the rarely getting taken off. And every good attack really that goes through him he is now right up there as a perfect modern number 9 in terms of a player that can do basically anything. Like if you could easily ask him to play as a left or right winger and he would pull out the defensive duties just as well. But his hold up play is improved. He's an amazing dribbler. With just this season, his ability to wriggle out of pockets surrounded by 3 players is just ridiculous at times. And he's obviously massively improved his finishing. Most people will just remember him from his time at the Prem as 1 goal from Liverpool, 2 goals at Bournemouth in 19 games or however many it was. And he didn't have a great time. But now he's had 2 years of great experience as the number 1, as the first choice striker. And it's really helped him develop his game. And he's bulked up a bit under Scott Parker, and it's massively helped his ability to hold off defenders. Philip Billing got 10 goals and 10 assists last season. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Billing this season, because if we play a 3-4-3, as Parker looks like he's shifting towards slightly, his impact is going to be drastically reduced, because he's not really capable of doing all the work that needs to be done in a midfield 2. But as one of the number 8s in a 4-3-3, that he was allowed to push on and be such a great support for Solanke going forward, and could be an option as sort of like as a bench pick on your fantasy teams. I don't think he'd be too expensive. And the other one would be Jordan Zamora, who unexpectedly became a real shining light from left back, who'd be now left wing back in this new setup. We'll see how he adapts to the Prem. But the thing that we were most worried about would have been his defensive ability. Like, how strong is he in able to win the ball back in the tackle? He's not that tall, so he's a little bit susceptible to high balls, but really improved after a couple of games. He showed that he fit in perfectly, and he scored 3 goals, eventually got an assist, which he deserved. He's got a good bit of skill on him, and he's done well. I'd also shout out to Jaden Anthony, but I'm not sure how much game time he's going to get this season. But he was a very impressive left winger, another youth player that came through for us.
Yeah, interesting. Sure. Nice. So go on now.
Sorry. Well, I'll do it. Why not? Look, we've had the key players who've spoken sort of, about the players that you might already notice. What about the ones that, we might not notice? A Chelsea fan, a Liverpool fan, whoever, who aren't, regular Bournemouth fans. Who would you say to them, keep your eye on that player? Because you might not notice them, but they'll do a job. Your unsung hero, if you will.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, because the funny thing is about sort of the really good, the players that actually really performed last season all got some level of credit from the fans. Dominic Solanke was actually a player that never got a Supporters Player of the Month award last season, even though he was so incredible, because at least one other player was always outstanding in any month. Like Cahill got one, Anthony Zamora would have got one, Billing got 1 or 2. Probably my favorite player in the team is Lewis Cook, who I think is a bit of an unsung hero, but again, it's just difficult to know with a formation change as a player that Cook came in as the number 6, the deep line playmaker, just incredibly press resistant, really intelligent on the ball, so accurate in the pass for the majority, and obviously a really nice dribbler as well. Very much sort of like, I think, what Jack Wilshere probably would have wanted to be in terms of that deep line playmaker, but just doesn't get himself into as many easy to be injured positions as Wilshere did, although Cook has had a very bad injury record as well. But yeah, that kind of player that just takes the ball off the defense, and just, if he gets his chance to lift his head up and play the pass, then he starts everything, and can really dictate play. Again, in the Prem and with a formation change, I don't know how much, if he's going to have quite the same impact. And this is the thing that we're slightly unsure about at the moment with Parker's shift in tactics. As anyone else that might be slightly unsung, Joe Rothwell in pre-season, he's one of our few transfers that come in. And from the sounds of things, because all 3 friendlies so far have been not televised on the club's channel, but from what I hear, he's been quite impressive as more of an attacking midfielder that we brought in from Blackburn. But I think he's operated sort of as a quite inside left forward that's been given a lot more freedom and been able to support Solanke quite closely. From what I hear, he's actually had quite a good start. So I'll be interested to see when I actually get the chance to see him live what kind of impact he can have. So someone that could be watched out, because as a free transfer, most people certainly I think will have ignored him and Frederick coming in on a free. So he's one that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned new tactics, new formation. So what can we expect from Bournemouth in terms of style of play, tactics? Like you said, what sort of football can we expect to see from a neutral point of view?
So last season we were in a 4-3-3. So we had a deep lying 6 that was certainly from halfway the season onwards was Lewis Cook, with Billing and Lerma generally as the 2 number 8s. Billing on the left being much more attacking, and then Lerma on the right as more of a box-to-box, who would settle into a double pivot if necessary, didn't get forward all that often. But certainly at the start of the season, the really important attacking outlet for us was on the left-hand side, with Zamora at left back, Anthony at left wing, and Billing as the left attacking mid, really combining brilliantly. From pre-season onwards, you could see that this was going to be something good, and it worked fantastically towards the start of the season. Sort of eased off when any one of them got injured, the effect just wasn't as strong. In this pre-season so far, Parker has seemingly been tending towards moving to a back 3. He has played a bit he has kept his 4-3-3 occasionally, but he has played back 3 a lot. And I think he just understands how difficult the season is going to be, and we're not going to be able to dominate games in the way that we did in the Championship. So he's preempting an important defensive shift to try and get us to hopefully play in transition a lot more. Last season, I was quite disappointed by our seemingly complete lack of attempting to counterattack. I don't remember us getting any goals on the counter, maybe 1 or 2 last season, even though the opportunities were definitely there with the pace of Anthony, Solanke, Billing, and others supporting like Christie off the right. This season, I think Parker is going to shift to try and be a lot more counter-attacking, and that's sort of the impression that he's giving so far. The difficulty is right now is that if you want to play with a back 3, you need centre-backs, and we don't really have that many. Because Cahill left and Matt Phillips has gone back to Liverpool, we currently have 3 first-team centre-backs on the books. Lloyd Kelly, James Hill, who's untested past League One and still a youngster for the future, and Chris Mepham, who needs game time and wants game time because of Wales being in the Euros. So the noise has been that he might want to move on if he's not going to get guaranteed any game time. So we need at least 2, maybe even 3 centre-backs to really properly compete, and we're being linked back with Matt Phillips and Sepp van der Berg, another loan from Liverpool, is being touted as well. Because I haven't really seen what Parker wants to do with this 3-4-3, I'm not entirely sure myself what we're necessarily going to see, but I think counterattacks are going to be more of the aim, and certainly from what I've heard, direct play. We're going to be playing a lot more directly, trying to get it through the thirds a lot quicker than we did last season. There was a hell of a lot of playing around the back last year. This time, I think it's trying to be a lot quicker than that, and not necessarily try and crowd out teams through possession, but just get into as many good attacking positions as possible as quickly as possible.
Yeah, nice. Looking forward to it. That's made me a bit more excited to watch Bournemouth now, to be fair. It'd
be interesting to see where they go with it. It would be and see how teams cope with it. I would be keen. Yeah.
Leads us on quite nicely. What would you be happy with this season? Is sort of survival just the bare minimum? You just want to survive and then build from there.
17th, I'd be happy with. I'd be happy with 17th. And at the moment, it's it's not looking great. As trying to be realistic, as much as I support my team to the hilt, trying to be realistic at the moment, like I haven't seen a 1-20 yet that doesn't have Bournemouth in 20th. It's, we are back in the underdog tag as we were in the first season we were here. And the difference is that time around, we knew exactly what we were going to get when we came up. We had the same, we'd had Eddie Howe for years. We knew what he was like. And the players, we knew exactly who we were going to start. We basically had the same 11 that we won the championship with as we started the next season. Josh King was the only real change. Everyone else was exactly the same. Callum Wilson got injured and we managed to make it through. This time around, it's going to be pretty much the same team, I would say, as the championship, but with new tactics, some new ideas. Again, it's just I'm not 100% sure about what we're necessarily going to get. But I think Parker is being pragmatic, but his only experience so far in the Premier League is like less than half a season with Fulham going down, and then a full season with Fulham and not managing to survive. So it's all against us at the moment with not much investment at the moment. Although we've got apparently a deal done for Marcus Tavernier from Middlesbrough. It's mostly going to be the same players that brought us up, and there's a lot of Premier League. There's a decent chunk of Premier League experience, or Scottish or Premier League with Ryan Christie, but it's not a lot. And similarly with the manager, so it's a flip of a coin, sort of how positive I am in any one day with the way things are going at the moment. And 17th would be fantastic, but yeah, it's going to be a real uphill battle all season.
Oof. On that note,
right.
On
I was
that
going to
note,
say, you're
hoping for 17th, but where's your realistic prediction?
You said you've seen everybody put you 20th. You're hoping for 17th. Give us a number between 20 and 17. Realistically, innit?
Yeah, I don't think we'll finish last. And there are teams that I think definitely could fall in there. Fulham is an interesting one. Nottingham Forest could be anything. Really could be anything. They could finish 10th. They could finish 20th. Everton aren't great. Leeds aren't great. Brentford aren't great. I'm going to be positive and say 17th, but I could easily finish 18th or 19th as well. But I'll try and be positive for the team and say that we'll finish 17th.
I rate that. We like the positivity.
We love positivity of 17th. You and Brentford fighting it out. You and Brentford.
There's a prediction there. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot for coming on.
It's been an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing Bournemouth and whether they can get that elusive 17th place spot now. Jonathan, do you just want to take a couple of moments just to tell people where they can hear you and find you on social media?
Yeah, we're on we're on Cherries Red Army on YouTube. If you just search us up, we've got some videos about reactions, about transfer ideas, a few different things we come up in pre-season. I'm sort of starting my own series that's sort of a bit more stat-based as well. But we're also on Twitter at Cherries Red Army, and we're on Instagram as well. Same tag. So search for us if you want some Bournemouth content.
There we
awesome.
Yeah,
there we go.
Another one done, Al. Another one sorted.
We've got how many left? 4 to go.
5.
5 to go. 4 to go. One or the
Don't
other.
jump again. 5.
Yeah, I know. We'll skip 7 when we can't do that.
Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure, mate, and best of luck for the season. Thank you for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next preview. Ta-ra.
Take care.